Yes, hello and welcome to A Beer and a Bet. I'm Mick Gannon, and we've got a huge show for you this week. We've got a special guest, of course. Sure you'll be aware of who that is already. We'll review a mediocre tasting beer again this week, and perhaps a wine, or it could be a good wine. Time will tell. Beery has a review on Margaret's, the famous restaurant in the city there, whether or not he got home on time on Friday or not. And of course, we'll chat broodmare prospects and maybe the journey with Steph Grentell. And good afternoon to you, Steph.
Good afternoon.
Of course, being the business and bloodstock manager and probably much, much more. Mitch Beard, good
The
afternoon.
brains. You left out the brains of the operation. So, good afternoon. Yes, Steph's most important role is telling me no in the whole scheme of
Daily.
things on a regular basis. I reckon she's got the words. If you do this, I don't work for you anymore. Just copied and paste on WhatsApp because I cop it probably 3 or 4 times a week. But that's why we love it.
Good stuff. I love that. And Steph, how long you been with Mitch, working in the business? And then just tell us a bit more about your role and everything you do other than making sure Mitch just doesn't completely stuff everything up.
Yeah, I came on board with Mitch when I got back from South Africa, so about 4 years ago. Was just in more of a role to sell shares and try and retain some clients and things like that. And then about 2 years ago, we sort of said, well, this is getting crazy. I could be doing a full-time role with the team and taking on more responsibility. And so that's how we've got to where we are now. I'm sure everyone knows, but Mitch and I have known each other for 20 years, maybe even a bit more, which is a bit
Yeah.
frightening. um, so it's actually really good that we've finally been able to come together and work with each other. It's been on the cards for a long time, and I'm really enjoying the role. So it's pretty varied, which I quite like. It keeps me motivated, keeps me interested. I go to the sales and play a big part there in selecting and getting through the catalogs, and also just looking after our owners. We've got a really, really good bunch of people behind us now, and it's so important to look after them and make sure that their ownership experience is Group 1.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking about Group 1, I've got a benchmark 58 Saint Etienne here as my beer of the week. This is an Aldi special left over by a good mate of mine, Josh, that is one of those guys, and we've all got mates like this that bring the crap and drink the good stuff. So shout out to you, Josh, and your crappy beer. This might get a better than, probably maybe a bit better than the Furphy. We'll find out, Barry. What do you got?
The disrespect that you have brought upon this podcast by producing an Aldi product like 2 or 3 episodes in, mate, it's almost if I knew how to run one of these, I'd sack you, to be honest, because that is criminal.
Yeah.
I think Aldi is one of the most disgraceful things that's ever been introduced to this. Between the wild hare and carp and Aldi are the three most disgusting things to ever be introduced to Australia.
Aldi's like
And
Mitch's kryptonite.
yeah, it's just the lowest place, the lowest
Shout out to
place
Aldi
ever.
if you want to sponsor the show. Feel free
I,
with some Saint Etienne's.
I stopped at Red Rooster the other day and got 2 whole chickens because I needed dog food, so that I didn't have to go to Aldi and get dog food. I just refused, absolutely refused. But I'm on the Monsuda can. It's got a bit of an Asahi. Mainly the can caught my eye. I'm a sucker for basic marketing. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's sort of a stock standard. It's somewhere between a strong 64 and a weak midweek.
Ooh, I like that. And Steph, what do you got there?
I have got a glass of South Australia's best Sauvignon Blanc, Shaw and Smith. I'm onto my last bottle of the 2023 vintage, and I just got an email today saying they are sending out my 2024 batch this week. So they are schmick. You won't get a better Savvy B. So
There you
for
She's
the, if
go.
brought
there's any
some.
ladies watching, better buy them. If any of you boys are in the shit, then get on board and buy a box of that for your partner.
It's not a
She's
matter of
brought
if, but
some
just when.
absolute class. She's brought some absolute class to this degenerate. It was really
Sorry.
taking a nosedive, but no, no, no. It needed lifting up. It needed lifting up.
Oh, mate, it certainly did. And speaking of lifting up, how was Margaret's, the old fancy restaurant down there in Sydney? You promised a review for the owners. Are we going there, or are we just going to Dapto Leagues for Chinese next time?
Shout out to my great mates at BetSeeker. That's betseeker.com.au, who fifth wheeled Beery into Margaret's last Friday in the hurtling rain. And when it came time for the old Gregory Peck to come around, it was I was getting a bit nervous, and I said, "Boys, listen, I've got this horse in tomorrow at Newcastle called Order to Charge, right?" I said, "If it doesn't win, I'm happy to chip in, but give me 24 hours." And never in doubt, never in doubt. So not only did Order to Charge duly salute, but he got me off the hook of paying for lunch. So Margaret's was good, outstanding. Obviously, not somewhere a trainer like me gets to venture out to. Double Bay's pretty different area down here in the Gong, but yeah, it was lovely all the same.
Good stuff. Love that. Hey, Steph, you got a great opportunity, exciting opportunity in regards to a broodmare opportunity with a Grunt. I believe that this horse might be going. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it started off as one of mine and Mitch's harebrained ideas, which I think if we spent more time focusing on important things and less time thinking of silly things to do. But she came up for sale at the Great Southern, and she's by Snitzel, in foaled Grunt, who we know is having an unbelievable season. And when Mitch spoke to me about her, I said, oh, I think she's just going to make too much for us. But look, let's see. We'll see what happens. You can only sit and watch. Anyway, we ended up by some miracle getting her for $20,000. Her name's Countadeal. She's by Snitzel. She's from a huge black type family, out of a Group 3 winner herself. And she sadly didn't get to the track, but that's no knock on a mare. There's plenty of unraced mares have gone on to do great things. So what we'd like to do is make it a Breeders' Club 2.0. It was something we looked at doing a couple of years ago, and I've obviously got loftier plans for it, but with this particular mare, it's a great kickoff point, and we have a lot of owners that really want to get involved in the breeding side of it, but the syndication within the breeding game is non-existent. It doesn't happen. You might have 2 or 3 guys in a mare, but rarely any more than that. And it's something that a lot of people want to dip their toe into, but it's expensive. So this is a great way to have a small share to experience what it's like to breed and race one yourself, or perhaps breed and sell if that's the way we go, at a fraction of the cost. I can't explain, I don't have the right words to say how good it is to have a horse winning races that you've bred yourself. You've gone through the whole life cycle. I was lucky enough to have quite a good mare with Mitch called Gwyneth. She won 2 races in town. She won at Moonee Valley, won at Canterbury, placed at Flemington, and my mum and I bred her, and we leased her out to friends and family, and I just can't tell you how much fun, and you've got stories for a lifetime with everyone that's involved, and it's the best way I can describe it. It's the pride reserved for your own kids.
Yep.
When you see your horse out there that you've bred, not just gone and bought a share in, that you've actually bred yourself, it's just unbelievable.
Awesome.
We'll touch on Gwyneth. One of the sickest punting stories that I've ever encountered in my whole life. So Steph sends me this. When Steph originally got the horse up and going, I hadn't started training. She was originally with a trainer, and he was moving. I just got my trainer's license, and he was moving to South Australia. So she sent me the horse, and it came with a fair warning, but it was a psychopath. Like proper psychopath. Anyway, got it up and going. I'm like, Steph, this thing can gallop. Like, it's had one start, ran nowhere as a 2-year-old, it's come back as a 3-year-old. I've got like 12 in work and $40 to my name. Take it to Benalla. It was about 42 degrees. It was like $28, and I'm just like, chips in, like just absolute chips in. It bucked coming out of the barriers and dropped the jockey. And just went around riderless. It went back to the trials, and I put all this headgear on it. It ran last in a trial at Cranbourne, walked over the line, and I said to Steph, I'm out. Like, she's like, please, please, just give it one more, just try one more. And I'm like, oh, all right, if it wasn't for you, I'd just get rid of it. So God bless him, our mate Dean Holland. I gave him a ring. I'm like, mate, can you please ride this thing? He's like, oh, Beery, come on, mate. I know we're mates, but this is a bit much. And went to Seymour. It started at $126 and led all the way and won.
Wow.
And didn't have a cent on it.
Oh yeah, naturally.
And it then goes on to run third at Moonee Valley. Took it to Sydney when we were training in Melbourne. Won at Canterbury, led all the way. Won at Moonee Valley. And yeah, I still couldn't bring myself to like her.
Oh wow, yeah, you'd be burnt after not getting on $101. So this mare we speak of, she's in foal to Grunt,
Yep.
an exciting stallion. Mitch,
Very, yeah.
A stallion we've spoken a fair bit about ourselves, and then Steph, I reached out to you the other day. Just I saw it on your post on social media, and I thought I've had 3 or 4 people approach me in regards to Grunt and looking for horses by that stallion. So, Mitch, what are your thoughts on Grunt as a stallion and where he's going?
I think, he's had V8 from his first crop, but haven't seen the best of them yet. They're just going to continue to get better as they get older. Really classic sort of sprinter milers and maybe even a bit beyond. So, the world's his oyster, and he's going to probably be serving his best book of mares this year. He's got great support from Yulong. But yeah, really, really excited. And, from that filly, she's, by Snitzel, but her mum, Let's Make a Deal. She was a Group 3 winner. And then, you got her second dam, like Let's Elope. It's just a terrific Australian colonial family. So we're wrapped. I mean, everything's about affordability. We can't go and buy a mare in foal to Iron Vincent. We can't go buy a mare in foal to Zooster. We have to punt things that are going to be coming through before they've made it. Once they've made it, our demographic and our budget's blown out of the water. So, we put a lot of work into trying to find things, and it's just, the racing is one side of it all, and we all want to race good horses, but the journey is everything for us. And when we can take, 10 or 15 people along that whole journey, and when she falls down and sending that email out and seeing your foal for the first time and a video of it, it's incredible, So I'm looking forward. I'm in on her, and to go on that journey with a group of people and then get all the way to the races and win a race. It's a feeling that sort of, I know it sounds cliche, but money can't buy.
Yep, love that. Steph at mitchbracing.com.au. Simple as that.
Yep.
Get
Yep,
involved.
sure is.
Can't wait to follow the journey myself. It's going to be fantastic. Mitch, you spoke of Order to Charge on Saturday, was the stable's only winner of the 5 runners, albeit some very close results there. What was it like to head to Newcastle? There was about 300 mils of rain in seemingly maybe 2 days up there.
You can't send a boy to do a man's job, so I took him there and strapped him myself. Wait till the mailbag boys get the invoice for that one.
Yeah,
absolute doozy. But it was just great. And credit to you, Gano. I think, you rang me and said, I found one online. I don't think it'll make much. You sent it to me and I said, mate, 12 start maiden,
what are you doing?
Already these are the sort of horses we're trying to get away from.
Yeah.
And you were pretty bullish about him. And I'm like, yeah, no dramas. And there here he is second up at his ideal distance, winning, 45 grand maiden. So, credit to everyone. It was a miserable day, but it was made a lot better. And he'll go on now. Keep him on soft tracks, 14 mile, maybe even a little bit further in time. But I think we also unleashed a very promising young kid in Mitch Stapleford. I've booked him on a few more horses next week. Couldn't be more impressed with him. And for the punters out there, I wouldn't be too afraid of him as a 3 kilo claimer. He will rip through that claim within the next 12 months.
Yeah, full credit to our man Ryan as well, doing his best work there with Mitch Stapleford. So finding an informed Mitch. And speaking of Mitch, he's looks like he's booked on a few of yours moving forward there. We won't go to Scone straight away. Let's kick off at we'll go to Goulburn. Network error. Are we racing at Goulburn or are we going to Scone?
She's drawn 17 at Scone. I don't know. You think it's a pretty strong race tomorrow, so do I. So Yeah, we'll have a look at scratchings in the morning. I'd say there's a couple there she can't beat, but she is only having her first start. So, we might, it's a good track. It's not too far from home. We might take her there tomorrow and kick her off, but I don't think she's a punting proposition just yet.
Beautiful. Tell you one horse, it is a punting proposition. Royal Randwick, race 3, number 11, November Falls in the Midway Handicap. See Steph smiling. She must have got some of the $4.80 there, I think, there, Mitch.
Oh, I wish. I should have, shouldn't I?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of us missed
Steph's
it.
money is the smart money. That's why I got wound in. But no, I think we're paying the JMac tax on her. It's definitely more of a James McDonald price in town than a Mitch Beard price in town, that's for sure. But listen, she's well placed. She doesn't have to improve much of her last 2 runs. Bit of rain hovering around Friday and Saturday, which has got me up and about. If that track, stays in that sort of 7 to 8 range, that will elevate her chances enormous. But she's the one to beat, and we've got the right man for the job. She's in terrific order. So, yeah, very excited for Saturday.
Steph, who's your favourite horse in the stable?
Oh gosh, that's a toughie. There's 2. I'm gonna go with 2. You're Not the Boss. I know he can be so frustrating, but I think if he puts it all together, he's got more wins in him, that's for sure. And I'm hoping there's an unraced filly. She's by Street Boss, who I love as a stallion. Her name's Miss Big Shot, and she is coming back into work in the next week, and she'll do a bit of time on the Water Walker, and hopefully we can get her to the track because she has, I think she's got a lot of ability. It's just a matter of getting her there.
There you go. Like that. Little push there from Steph. Couple of horses
Oof,
there. And
geez, lethal.
Yeah.
Oh, I left out Grey Secret. Oh God, I've left out Grey Secret.
Oh, you've opened,
She's
mate. This will be a separate podcast in itself.
It can be a separate podcast.
More complaints
she's
to Steph at mitchbeerracing.com.au for any horses that have been left out.
Yeah, but email
the
her for a
complaints
share.
line.
Email her for a share and a horse, and some good old harsh, honest feedback as well. All directed at Steph.
100%.
What about when we have something go bad, and you get those like hate emails, like just the most vile, terrible things, like we had favorite get beat.
They come straight to
Steph.
me, by the way.
They go to
Oh,
Steph,
nice.
which is so great.
I thought they went to
And,
you. I stopped sending them.
She'll yeah, at notnickgannon.com. But no, she'll ring me on the way home from the races. And she's like, oh my God, I'll read you a couple of these. I've got some absolute pearlers. And it's like our way of brightening up a terrible day. She'll
it's
read.
meant to
She'll
bring
read
us down, but it actually cheers us up.
Have you had any Have you had any death threats yet? Because there's been times where a few fellow form analysts of mine have been tipping late in Western Australia. And the rule of thumb now is never tip in the last as a best bet, and make sure you're not tipping a best bet in WA because by
Too many
8 o'clock, by 8 o'clock at night, there's a few people wanting to go down to the pub and get angry with you.
Very angry.
What a world we live in. It is just a game. It's a game. We're all trying to win, but dead set. Hey, speaking of winning, Vegas Dream, Newcastle, Mitch Stapleford aboard, claiming 3.
Well, I don't want to talk too much about him until we declare our best bets for the weekend. All right, I can see what you're doing. Yeah, I can see what you're doing. You're edging info, and then it sways you to your staking plan. So
correct.
I'm going to go. I'm going to take the 5th here and say no comment.
Well, all right, that's all I need. I think Steph can read between the lines as well. I'm sure she's got a $100 staking plan ready to go. Queanbeyan probably heading to So Graceful probably heading to Scone. So let's have a chat about Scone on Sunday. We just touched on network error. So Graceful and Mount Warning both there.
Yeah, I think So Graceful, either Queanbeyan or Scone. Scone probably looks a bit better of a track for her. Stronger race, bit better of a track. Thought she was disappointing first up. I took the blinkers off her, whether that was a right thing or wrong thing. I put them back on. She's had a good freshen up between runs out to 1,300. And again, that 3 kilo claim vital. So, she heads that way. She should run a lot better than her last start.
Good stuff. Mount Warning going around, or are we looking for a wetter track?
I think it'll dry out a bit too much for her. Wyong looks nice next week. And as you know, Ganna up that way, if it's raining anywhere, it's raining up Wyong way. So yeah, there's a 64,000 for her. She's been great. Won her last two, really impressive, fresh, soft tracks. Let her rip. That's been key to her.
I do believe there is a bit of rain around at Wyong on Saturday as well. So all things bode well for Wyong to receive plenty of rain. I actually think I've done that So Graceful race, and if she can get anywhere near her best, I think she'll be a big price. So she could be a little bit of a play there with no markers out. Righto, here it is. Time for it. Our man, no doubt, he would have put up some images here and let you know how far in front Mitch is. Last week, he only had $50 on order to charge. Unfortunately, the other $50 was on a horse that was scratched, but did run well subsequently at Hawkesbury, being zipperless. Beery, $569 and maybe like a 50 cents in profit. So you're flying, and $3 in profit for me. Righto, Beery, kick us off with a staking plan for this weekend.
I think November Falls should be winning, but she's pretty short. So I'm going to have 50 on her, but I'll certainly be having 50 on Vegas Dream. There's a horse at Chris Lee's in the race that looks very hard to beat. It's also engaged in the midway. I hope they run it. I hope they run it at Newcastle because we'll get a big price about Vegas Dream, 3 kilos on. That horse worked as good as anything. He's had 2 seconds that have had excuses. He's improved out of sight. If he doesn't win, he'll run second on Saturday at Newcastle.
Absolutely love that. Steph, are you going to have $100 on November Falls? I'll go first. I'm going to have $100 on November Falls. I think he wins. She wins, sorry. J-Mac rolls forward, gets her into a nice rhythm, and Beery will be there just charging down to the winning post. And I look forward to the post-race interview. And I also look forward to the banter between J-Mac and Beery because there's always a bit of shtick going on there. Steph, what do you got for us?
Well, I can't go past November Falls in the midway. I just think with J-Mac on, he's just riding it like the best jockey in the world.
Break.
As he said to Mitch, I don't care about your gear changes because you've got me on. And if that doesn't give you confidence, nothing will. My other one is at Flemington, race 6, number 1, Munamek, comes in with the top weight. Celine Gaudray takes the claim. Nick Ryan is just kicking goals left, right, and centre. And I just think he's such an honest horse. I thought he's can go again.
There we go. 50 on each. Beautiful.
I'll tell you a quick little one, Gano. I rang J-Mac to see if he wanted to ride November Falls. And he, was having a bit of a chat whether he's gone to Brisbane or Queensland or Sydney. And he said, we're going through working out what was going to be running next week. And I thought she might. And then I thought, you know what? The day that I ring you for a ride is the day that I probably stop riding. And I've never had more respect for him.
That's so good. The best thing is I was on radio this morning and I told everyone that J-Mac called you 4 times and you refused to answer. When you finally picked up, he was begging you for the ride. So anyway, there's different versions.
Yeah, we'll go with your story. We'll go with your story.
Different versions, but hey, as long as he gets the job done, and no doubt he will. A viewer question we've had in, or a viewer or owner question we've had in is, and I'll throw this one to you, Mitch. How do you determine, or how do you know, or at which point do you become aware whether a horse is a leader or a back marker?
Well, I start off trying to make them leaders because you go forward, you stay out of trouble. So I think horses that have natural ability and that have early speed is the greatest asset to a horse that races in Australia. Getting out of the gates, putting yourself in a good position. Back markers, they just are dictated to by how quick they go and finding trouble and track bias and things like that. So, obviously if things aren't working, sometimes you ride a horse quieter because you're trying to get it out further. I think the prime example of that is the horse called Sesame Timbers, who won last week. We brought him from the ready to run sale, and he was really fierce. He wouldn't, as an early horse, he wouldn't been able to run 1,000 meters out. He just wanted to go hard. So we spent 12 months trying to get that horse to relax. We rode him quieter a few times. He was hitting the line really good. Now that he's sort of settled down a little bit and he's lost the novelty of trying to go really fast from the get-go, we were able to lead all the way with him over 1,400 and win, which 12 months ago, he wouldn't have been able to lead up a barrier trial and win. He was just too fierce. So things can change. Horses' races patterns can change a lot as they get older, and also as they get onto different ground and different distances.
Yep, absolutely. And it's so important, and you see with some of these trainers with significantly high strike rates is, to be within 2 lengths of the lead, especially in Australian racing, is just so important. Hey, Steph, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. You've added some class, some knowledge, educational views. You've spoken really well, and Mitch and I have just dragged the train as usual. If you want to get involved, you want to race a course, Mitch Beer Racing, Steph at mitchbeerracing.com.au. If you want to get involved in the broodmare prospect, I'm excited about that. That should be pretty good, Steph.
Yeah, that'll be great fun.
Beery, what else?
If you have any gripes or complaints, Steph at mitchbeerracing.com.au.
Send them all there. Viewer questions, any recommendations for a guest next week, let us know. We've marked a few off. Steph was the only one that was allowed on out of about the 10 people were requested.
No, again, Gano, some absolute shite
Stinkers.
Requests.
Yep.
Absolute shite. I think a couple of you sent through and said, I'd rather just not do the podcast. So we got Steph on.
Exactly right. So thank you, Steph, for giving us your time. And we appreciate everyone watching. Share it. Get on the socials, share it. Let us know. Throw a comment in there. Let us know if you like your St. Etienne's benchmark 58s. If you really do like them, maybe Beery will buy you a case after November Falls wins. Righto, we'll be back for episode 4 next week.